In this world, people have all become parasites on giant beasts because an alien battleship crashed on Earth, and the escaped Wraith containment swept across the entire world. To escape the Wraith containment attacks, people built cities on wandering giant beasts. Even powerful artisans have to depend on the giant beasts to survive. And although you haven't awakened as an artisan, you've unexpectedly gained the ability to upgrade machinery. Here, take a flashlight. You can turn it into a hardship cannon. Even a small boat, you can turn it into an interstellar battleship. At this moment, you, who have just transmigrated, are being asked by your teammates to go out and attract wolves. You, Chun-Si, say for a moment, I can go out and attract wolves, but you have to give me a chance. Xiaolong asks, what do you mean? A gun. I need a gun. You just need to run. Xiaolong said impatiently, continuing, you didn't say anything, just your eyes were extremely determined. Reaching out for a gun, Xiaolong is silent for a moment, looking at a man behind him with a very subtle gaze. This man nods, pulls out a battered-looking handgun from his waist, and throws it to you. You take it, open the magazine. It's loaded with dark, dull bullets. A line of text also pops up in the corner of your eye. Must explode P-26 semi-automatic pistol. Range 50 meters. 1 bullet, severely worn rifling, 100% chance of explosion. Unusable. These people actually gave me a gun that will explode. You temporarily suppress your anger, without scolding or blaming. You want to test what the effect will be after the handgun is upgraded. You disassemble the slide, barrel, and nearby mechanisms of the gun. The bottom plate, the trigger mechanism, all taken apart and clean the sand and dirt inside the parts. Reassemble them with a slight improvement besides the level change. The description of this P-26 also has subtle changes. 1 minute is up. Hurry up and get out there. At this moment, Xiaolong is a little impatient, urging you. You think to yourself, how to break the situation. Suddenly, you remember that before Xiaolong led everyone into the cave, he sent someone to set up a lookout on top of the cave. In theory, if any ferocious beasts or dangers approach outside the cave, the lookout will be the first to notice and send a signal. And that lookout is a sniper who must be carrying a Barrett M95. Your expression changes. You carefully recall the initial position of the lookout. Good, good, good. They all want me dead, but you dogs get to live? You sneer inwardly. A surge rises in your heart. Then, under everyone's gaze, you slowly walk to the cave entrance. You take a deep breath and glance back at Xiaolong and the others. Xiaolong impatiently lowered his voice, making it sound a bit hoarse, and said, "Move it! What are you waiting for?" You smile, wanting to bid you all a final farewell. No need. Just complete your mission. Fine then. Bang! A bloody hole instantly appears on Xiaolong's forehead. The bullet pierces his skull. It explodes out the back of his head. Damn it, a broken pistol. And you wanted me to go die. Let the last bullet kill you first. A gentleman doesn't wait overnight to take revenge. You just blow him away right then and there. At the same time, you have a pleasant surprise. Fire a shot, and actually gain experience points. Pistol LV2 1/10. At this moment, the others in the cave never expected the situation to develop so unexpectedly. Damn it, that pistol was clearly broken. How could it fire a bullet? As the others in the cave angrily pick up their weapons, wanting to shoot at you at the cave entrance. Your figure has long since disappeared, infuriating them to the point of impotent rage. They are utterly frustrated. They curse incessantly, while you, at this moment, run wildly. Trying to break through a pack of over 300 mutated wolves, without any ability users, is definitely suicide. The only way to break this situation is the sniper rifle on the mountaintop. At this very moment, the alpha wolf sees your figure. After it rushes out, it doesn't send all the mutated wolves to swarm you. It only sends a few mutated wolves to chase you, and maintains order among the other wolves. You glance back from the corner of your eye. Several mutated wolves are rushing towards you, their speed so fast that the pebbles on the ground are being kicked up. It's like a race car accelerating. Damn it, you underestimated the speed of the mutated wolves in this world. Their speed is so fast it makes your scalp tingle. You let out a deep roar and push your physical strength again, pushing your heart's load to its limit. Your nostrils even can't withstand the intense exercise, and suddenly spray blood. You ignore everything. In this life or death moment, you wish you could grow 8 legs to escape. In a matter of moments, the distance between the two sides narrowed. The fastest decaying wolf was less than 20 meters behind you in the blink of an eye. You could even feel the immense pressure from the decaying wolf. Felt like a dragging sensation, pulling you backward. Finally, in your vision, a small fence less than 3 meters high appeared, like a wall in front of you. You leaped, extending your arms, fingers gripping the edge, using the momentum of the impact. You rolled over and looked to the left, still seeing scattered corpses that had been gnawed on. And a Barrett M9. You didn't hesitate at all. You flipped over, grabbed the sniper rifle from the ground, and pulled the bolt, triggering a text prompt. Instantly displayed, modified Barrett M9, range 900 meters. 5 bullets, detachable bipod missing, adjustable monopod at the rear missing. Background missing, high lethality. No time to deal with the text prompt. Although the missing bipod will cause significant recoil, this weapon has a high-efficiency muzzle brake that can reduce recoil by 70%. Even without a bipod, you have to hurry, turn around and blindly snipe. Thwack! Your shoulder was sore and numb from the recoil. Felt like it was about to fall apart. The huge recoil heavily impacted you, pushing you back 10 centimeters. Sniper rifle LV1, 1/5 of the way there for you. Based on Xiaolong's words and observations from the cave entrance, the pistol is indeed no threat to the decaying wolves. But anything above an automatic rifle is definitely lethal to them. Otherwise, these decaying wolves, how could they suddenly become so smart? They know how to set traps and avoid automatic rifles. The most lethal range. After taking care of the decaying wolves that came chasing, you flipped over and lay prone on the mountaintop. The crosshair above the muzzle slowly lined up with the head of the alpha wolf below. Currently, if you want to escape the encirclement of the decaying wolves, you must shoot the leader first. To catch the bandits, first catch the king. You want to kill all the decaying wolves, but your skills are not enough. Only by killing the alpha wolf will the other decaying wolves become disoriented and even scatter in all directions. Half of your gun extends out. The muzzle sways slightly with the movement of the alpha wolf. Bang! Sniper rifle LV1, 5/5. The huge and brutal gunshot echoed throughout the mountain. The scorching bullet drew a straight line in the air. Instantly, almost the entire chest of the alpha wolf's back exploded. It lowered its head and just saw its own terrifying wound. Before falling to the ground, with the alpha wolf down, the pack of decaying wolves immediately fell into chaos. Most of the decaying wolves were enraged, running back and forth throughout the valley, searching for the one who dared to challenge the entire pack. However, in the wind echoing through the valley, besides the smell of gunpowder spreading from who knows where, there was no unusual scent at all. Several of the decaying wolves with the keenest sense of smell had already charged to the foot of the mountain. But it was already empty there. Dozens of enraged decaying wolves then charged toward the humans. In the cave as if they were a pre-existing target. Such a charge was tantamount to suicide, like a few strong decaying wolves. The furthest only got close to, charged within 10 meters of the cave entrance, before being shot down by dense gunfire. The only achievement was consuming 1/3 of the entire squad's ammunition. Another half-hour passed, and the pack of decaying wolves began to fall into even greater agitation and unease. A strong, hunched wolf began to frequently roar and howl, trying to take the place of the alpha wolf. Seeing this scene, the humans in the cave became tense. Although this hunched wolf was just a bit stronger. Compared to ordinary decaying wolves, it didn't have the obvious intelligence of the original alpha wolf. However, after the pack of wolves re-established an alpha wolf, who knows what will happen? Boom! Another earth-shattering gunshot rang out. The new alpha wolf fell in response. This time, the people in the cave finally saw a wisp of green smoke rising from the opposite mountainside. Someone took out binoculars and looked towards the opposite side. The lens only showed a pile of rocks. There wasn't a single person in sight. Is it Shen Bei? Bah! He was told to go out and attract the pack of wolves. And the result? Who knows where he ran off to? Shouldn't be. The distance just now was about 1,200 meters. He hasn't been trained. Could he shoot so accurately? I think someone else saved us. Maybe Shen Bei is also with this person. No matter who it is, it seems we're saved. The pack of wolves has lost another alpha wolf. I estimate they won't launch another charge. It's a pity about Xiaolong. His death was too tragic. After getting out, I must settle accounts with Shen Bei. The people in the cave breathed a sigh of relief. They began to condemn you again, ignoring the persecution they inflicted on you. Silence returned to the valley. The afternoon sun was even more dazzling. Without the constraint and leadership of the alpha wolf, the wolf pack changed from a disciplined army back into beasts acting only on instinct. It was an hour before dusk. They had lost their last bit of reason and began to leave the valley in 2s and 3s, until finally, after all the wolves in the valley had dispersed, the people in the cave cautiously came out, while on the opposite ridge amidst the chaos, you were guarding with the mottled, khaki-colored helmet, almost blending into the surrounding environment, watching the people come out of the cave, celebrating their survival with joyful dances. You smirked, aligning the crosshairs on their heads. You're celebrating too early. You will pay a bloody price for your actions. You are ruthless. This is my favorite hunting moment. At this very moment, the people in the cave, seeing that the wolf pack had completely disappeared, they excitedly and enthusiastically ran out. Leave 5 for me. I plan to exchange them for a new era rifle. This scrap metal in my hand should be replaced too. Ha ha ha. I plan to buy 2 pairs of wheels, so I don't have to rent a room in the shelter and endure the landlord's scorn and exploitation. Everyone looked greedy, drawing their daggers and beginning to harvest the gold and faith from the decaying wolf brains. This object is not only currency but also an item that empowers espers, gradually becoming a tradable currency. But little do they know, on the opposite side of the valley, amidst the chaos, your sniper scope is already aimed at their heads. A burn-scarred, twisted smile hung on your handsome face as your finger gently squeezed the trigger. Bang! An explosive roar instantly tore through the sky, and a blazing flame erupted from the gun muzzle. A man in the valley, chasing behind, digging out gold and faith, had his buttocks blown to pieces. His lower body shattered, and the deadly bullet tore through his body, obliterating his flesh and blood, leaving a horrifying hole. The occurrence of this scene instantly filled the others with inexplicable fear and panic. Damn it! Someone is sniping us. Who the hell is it? Could it be Shen Bei? You replaced a magazine and pulled the bolt. The guaranteed lethal bullets were fired in succession. Although the people in the valley were running, you were a top-tier special forces soldier in your previous life. Not to mention shooting stationary targets, you could shoot countless live targets, even death row inmates. Your marksmanship was extremely accurate. Bang, bang, bang. After 5 consecutive shots, 3 more bodies fell in the valley. You stepped back, got up, and began to circle around, replacing the magazine. 3 enemies remained, hiding behind huge rocks. You squinted your eyes, like an agile cheetah. Bending over and running as you circled around, you began to upgrade the sniper rifle. Sniper rifle LV1, 5 out of 10, a modified Barrett M95. Range 900 meters. The bullet is unmodifiable. The detachable bipod is missing. The rear adjustable monopod is missing. The scope is missing. The lethality is relatively high. Upgrade. Sniper rifle LV2, 10 out of 5. Modified Barrett M95. Range 1000 meters. The bullet is unmodifiable. The detachable bipod is missing. The rear adjustable monopod is missing. The scope is missing. The lethality is relatively high. Increased shooting distance by 100 meters. Your heart stirred. You wondered if continuing to upgrade would produce other effects besides increasing the shooting distance. After all, this is a world of energy, where even espers exist. Transcending the laws of physics is also reasonable. In a short moment, you had circled halfway around, returning to the hilltop where you originally sniped the Wolf King. You set up the sniper rifle and glanced through it. You grinned maliciously. The 3 enemies were still huddled in their original positions, taking turns peeking out from behind the rocks, trying to find your location to retaliate. Crack. The bullet arrived before the sound of the gunshot reached the ears of the 3. The enemy on the left collapsed in response. The incredibly powerful bullet directly pierced through his chest armor, blowing half of his chest to pieces. A bloody, mangled arm flew out from the other side and fell to the ground. And the second gunshot directly blew the brains out of the enemy in the middle. The man on the far left was tense and twitching constantly. Each gunshot was like a hammer blow to his heart. He turned his head blankly. Only then did he realize that there was a person on the top of the cave. The dark, ominous gun barrel was slowly turning, aiming at him. He was extremely shocked. Terrified, he could already see the face of the sniper in his pupils. Shen Bei. The man was utterly stunned and confused. He never imagined in a million years. The worst of the team is not only still alive, but has also picked up a gun and begun a vengeful massacre. How is it possible? Words cannot describe the remorse and terror. Regret tore at his heart like a million ants. If he could do it again, he would have stopped Xiaolong from unleashing this devil. Snap! He suddenly heard a strange, sinister laugh. It was the high-frequency vibration of a bullet flying through the air. Faster than the speed of sound, intense regret and meaning surged in his heart. "Sia," he groaned. "No!" Thwack! The bullet hit him squarely between the eyebrows. Like a watermelon smashed on the ground, it exploded into a shower of blood and gore. At this moment, your finger is still on the trigger. With venting emotions, you empty the magazine. Sniper rifle LV2. 10 out of 10. You breathe a sigh of relief and smile softly. Upgrade. Sniper rifle LV3. 0/30. Modified Barrett M95. Range 1,100 meters. Ammunition, 5 rounds. Detachable bipod missing. Adjustable monopod missing. Sling missing. High lethality. Accuracy increased by 20% for moving shots. After reading the information, you furrow your brow slightly. After this upgrade, it brings a brand new entry. Accuracy is significantly improved in mobile combat. You need to know that when a person wants to shoot a target while running, It is many times more difficult than blind firing. The body sways violently while running. Not to mention a sniper rifle, even a pistol cannot be accurately controlled. The only practical weapon is an automatic rifle. Random spraying. Even a special forces soldier cannot achieve perfect accuracy in mobile combat, or rather 3 out of 10 hits is just luck. Looks like my cheat is very practical. You put away the sniper rifle. Slung across your back, you pull up your hood, hiding your face in the shadows. You head towards the valley. Soon your vision is filled with the rotting corpses of wolves and humans. The bloody stench of 2 different creatures assaults your nostrils. After adapting for a moment, you begin to clean up the battlefield. In the original owner's memories, the ferocious beasts of the wasteland all produce primal cores, which are an important currency in this world. Also, espers are often coveted. With that thought, you pick up a dagger from the ground. You begin collecting primal cores. Some primal cores have already been dug out by the enemy. They immediately lose function. You pick up one of them, holding it up for inspection. At this time, night has fallen. A bright moon hangs in the night sky, casting a silvery glow, providing a lot of light. The primal core is about the size of a finger and has a rhomboid shape. It has an azure glow with milky white, milky-like lines inside, slowly flowing. Unfortunately, according to the original owner's memory, this body does not have the conditions to awaken any special abilities and can only be used as currency. You sigh softly. However, you don't think that you cannot survive in this strange world without special abilities. Just these ordinary people that you killed could survive, and you still have a cheat with unlimited possibilities. The future is bright. After about an hour, you have collected all the primal cores. A total of 37. As for the specific value, because the original owner's memory has some gaps, you can only find a shelter to measure it. Then, you search the enemy's corpses. Apart from rifle bullets, there is only a bottle of water, some dry biscuits, and half a cigarette. Looks like things are really desperate. I have to break through. You smile and sit down cross-legged. You chew in small bites, replenishing your energy. After that, you light a cigarette. You take a deep drag, exhaling the faint smoke after a full 3 or 4 minutes. It's clear that he knows how to enjoy tobacco. After taking a few more puffs, you stub the cigarette but firmly into the dirt and cut off 30 pounds of wolf meat. Getting up, you head east, bathed in the silver glow of the moonlight, traveling through the night. According to the original owner's memory, Shelter 36 is in the east. Although the shelter is in a mobile state, it usually doesn't travel too far. As long as you don't make any major turns, you should be able to find it. Whether night or day, when moving in the wasteland, just pay attention to the ferocious beasts and blood breeds. Of course, that also includes humans. You can still deal with ferocious beasts, but the blood breeds have only one ending. If you don't run, you die. You can't always stay consistent. Slowly heading east, after dawn, in your field of vision, a giant creature appears on the distant, desolate land, about 5 kilometers long and 300 meters wide. It is more than 10 meters high, like a constantly wriggling slug. This is Shelter 36. This kind of giant creature is called Titan by humans. Obviously, this is completely different from the Titan in your cognition, whether in appearance or essence. Maybe this world has some misunderstanding of the word Titan, but this is a harmless, natural shelter that slowly crawls in the wasteland. The reason why this creature has become a shelter stems from its most important characteristic. That is, no blood breed can get close to it within a radius of 500 meters. Humans don't know why it has this kind of resistance, but that's not important. As long as the blood breeds can't get close, it is the hope for the survival of the remaining humans. There are currently 56 known shelters like this, scattered in the wasteland, and humans follow behind the Titans to escape the famine and constantly migrate. Wherever the Titan goes, humans follow. And within the shelter, there are also class distinctions. Powerful humans naturally live on the Titan's back. There are many dwellings and various facilities built on it, but lower-class people like you are not qualified to board the shelter and can only follow behind the Titan. You quicken your pace and start chasing the shelter. Soon, your field of vision is blocked by the Titan's huge body. A very strange scene appears within a few kilometers. Densely packed, immeasurable dwellings, a railway connecting to the Titan, and countless wheeled houses connected to the end. These houses are behind the Titan, stretching out for nearly 5 kilometers continuously. You can imagine that when the blood breeds come, it will definitely not be safe within a 5-kilometer radius. These houses will inevitably need to be adjusted and squeezed and compressed within a 500-meter radius. This will inevitably lead to some friction and disputes. The only truly safe place is the shelter on the Titan's back, and not just anyone can enter and station in the shelter. After you enter the range of the houses, You may want to slowly explore this wonderful world little by little. A large number of tire tracks and the sound of the Titan's huge body crushing the ground are mixed together, forming an indescribable sound. These houses vary in size. Some are dwellings, some are bars, and there are various shops selling goods. Generally speaking, the more wheels, the bigger the house. This is also why back in the valley, the enemy's lifelong desire was to buy 2 pairs of wheels. That is a true home. You wander around and come to a store. The sign above is very simple, only drawing a water droplet pattern. It is a store selling water. You climb the ladder, push open the door, and a bald boss welcomes you, sitting behind the counter. Behind him is a huge water tank. The water tank is made of ultra-strong alloy steel, which bullets cannot penetrate. Many steel bars are also welded as protection. You take out the gold core and hand the water bottle over. Fill a bottle of water. The boss takes the bottle with a smile. Okay. Oh, right. The boss turns around and says, "Who raised the price? It now requires 5 gold cores. This price is a bit outrageous. The water bottle in your hand is not big. It is a standard 500 milliliters, like a bottled mineral water bottle. Just 1 bottle of water requires 5 gold cores. With such prices, how do humans in this world survive? You naturally know that water is hard to come by. In this world, both groundwater and surface water are almost polluted. And if humans want to obtain water, they have to rely on titans. These giant creatures often stop wriggling and moving forward and open their huge mouths, extend hollow meat tubes that rotate, and drill into the ground to draw out groundwater. Then, through special internal filter organs, they filter out the polluted water and store it in the vesicle. To provide the water source needed for their own lives, they haven't stopped taking water for 2 months. Scarcity increases value, and the price of water naturally rises. The boss places a bottle of clean water on the counter. You silently handed over 5 gold core coins and left the hydroelectric facility. You carefully placed the water bottle down and, following the original owner's memories, walked between the rows of mobile homes. You arrived at an apartment building not very tall, about 3 stories. A small room in the corner of the 3rd floor was your dwelling. You were home. The landlord was a greasy middle-aged man, fat and bloated, gnawing on the leg of some unknown ferocious beast. His yellowed teeth tore at the half-raw flesh. "How was the harvest this time?" you asked calmly. "They're all dead. This damned world is like that." The landlord wiped his hands. He continued, "Yesterday they were drinking and celebrating, and today they're pushing up daisies." You nodded and turned to walk upstairs, the landlord's large head poking out. "Why are you acting so clueless?" You stopped and slowly turned back. You asked, puzzled, "What? Is it time to pay the rent?" You then remembered that the original owner had gone out on a dangerous beast hunt this time to get gold core coins to pay the rent. You counted out 20 gold core coins and handed them to the landlord, who smiled broadly. He waved his hand. "The harvest wasn't bad, huh? I thought you'd have to go out a few more times to scrape together the rent. Go on up." You smiled slightly. You continued upstairs. According to the original owner's memories, the landlord used to be an esper. He was quite famous for a while, but then during a fight with a ferocious beast, he was hit by divine law miasma. This caused his esper abilities to be sealed, and he fell into ordinariness. Luckily, he had earned a lot of gold core coins. He bought 4 pairs of wheels and built a 3-story apartment building, becoming a rent collector. He lives a pretty good life. The so-called divine law miasma is a kind of gas that appears randomly, at any time and any place. Once an esper is contaminated with this gas, no matter how powerful they are, their esper abilities are directly sealed and cannot be broken. They are bound to become ordinary people. The humans in this world believe that this is punishment from God for espers, prying into the energy of heaven and earth, and they call it divine law miasma. You pushed open the door to your dwelling. The internal space wasn't large, just a bed. It took up almost 80% of the space. The room was relatively clean, but the bedding was a bit dirty. It was black and shiny. Water is naturally hard to come by in this world, especially drinking water. Even some of the luxurious upper class rarely use pure water to bathe. They usually use stimulated water that has been filtered by evolution equipment. This kind of water contains a certain amount of radiation. After washing, the body will experience a kind of tingling sensation. Although it's fine after enduring it, it's not as comfortable as taking a bath. It's more like showering under an electric current. So most humans rarely bathe, and their bodies are naturally extremely dirty. Inside the room, you pulled out the few drawers there were. They contained items of little value, but inside one packaging bag, there was a photo. The front of the photo showed a picture of a little boy and a little girl. They weren't old, about 5 years old. On the back was written a delicate script. It seemed to be written by a woman, Lime Year 67, younger sister Shen Nan. Followed me to Shelter 7, written by the Empress of the Rainbow. Sister, Empress of the Rainbow, Rainbow Phoenix? This part of the memory was not recorded at all. If you hadn't looked in the drawer, you wouldn't have known there was such a thing. This name, Empress of the Rainbow, sounds very powerful? You frowned. You temporarily put aside this past event. With your current abilities, you have no ability to look for her. Where is Shelter 7? Then you grabbed the alarm clock on the table and tilted your head. Your eyes lit up. Alarm clock LV1, 5 out of 0. Internal parts damaged, time inaccurate, alarm broken. Cannot tell the time. Your hands flew and you quickly disassembled the alarm clock into hundreds of parts, and then reassembled it. Alarm clock LV1, 5 out of 100 upgraded. Alarm clock LV5, 100 out of 0, a perfectly intact alarm clock, accurate timekeeping. The ringtone is crisp, the quality is excellent, and it is almost impossible to be damaged by external force. If a graphite gold core coin is inserted, it can be used as a detonator, a timed bomb. You mistakenly thought that, who would have expected, a small alarm clock. After some upgrading, it turned into a detonator. You should know that the essence of the gold core is a type of energy, it's just absorbed by the art users. But now, through the function of the alarm clock, it can detonate this energy. Truly unexpected. You hold the alarm clock, a self-deprecating smile. Originally thought only guns could be upgraded. Looking at it this way, it seems all mechanical objects can be upgraded. If there were a Gundam or powered armor, the thought, I dare not imagine. I dare not imagine. Your mind is immediately active. The lower level you are in doesn't have the conditions to produce machinery. But the upper level on the back of the Titan has places to produce weapons. And places for mechanical processing. Resting for a moment, you really can't suppress yourself. Wanting to try your luck, see if you can try to make a mech. Increasing combat power. This is closely related to your cheat. Going out, along the removable activity plank in the middle of the houses, walk forward. Midway, you also buy a piece of dirt cake. This is a food mixed with fine soil and flour. Truly, the taste of nature. The sandy texture when you eat it is a bit like chewing old bark. But this is the main food of ordinary humans. You slowly adapt to this flavor. Not a very good food. Soon, you arrive at the stairs. This is the only passage to the back of the Titan. Divided into two ways to log on. One is to walk up. The other is to take the elevator. The elevator is generally used to transport supplies. The power comes from an electricity-absorbing art user. I saw him holding the electric wires with both hands, electric sparks bursting out of his palms, his face flushed red. Controlling the current output, the motor slowly stirred, lifting the elevator upwards. After another check by the guards and handing over strips of world-ending corpse wolf meat, you were allowed to pass. A little heartache. Mainly because you didn't do the details properly. You should have divided the corpse wolf meat into smaller pieces. Maybe handing over half a kilogram would have been enough. Of course, the upper shelter is allowed. Residents of this shelter can enter and exit, as long as they leave before sunset. The guards are just using their duties. To skim some profit. Climbing to the top, your eyes light up. If you ignore the current environment of everyone fleeing the wasteland and parasitism, the scene on the back of this plot creature is completely no different from a small city. Factories stretching out in a continuous expanse, producing a series of products, from canned food and cement to weapons and equipment. The other end is a small power plant providing power. The scale of production here is certainly incomparable to the old era. There's no such thing as economies of scale, but in turbulent times it really can't be helped. There are more luxurious shops on the street, smooth roads, rows of houses. Even there are many vegetation, flowers and plants on both sides of the road. Further away, there are large areas of farmland and steam-powered turbines. Even in the apocalypse, those with power and influence still live very well and are not affected much. You can't help but sigh. Walking along the street for a while, you find a small factory full of modern technology. This is where humans use technological means to purify polluted water sources. And by the way, to insist on finding a place. You lowered your head and smelled the stench on your body. If you want to find a job, you have to be clean and tidy. Without any hesitation, you decided to take a bath first. Even if it's swill water. It's better than something that can stink people to death. Entering the yard, you can hear the rumbling of machinery and the sound of rushing water. At the same time, there are many art users standing quietly. Obviously, they are also taking a bath. These people obviously care more about appearance and image than the lower-class people. Still struggling to survive. Looking up, entering the room, you can see the equipment outlet. Divided into 3 pipes. One leads outside, delivering water to other residences. Used to sprinkle the ground, clean the streets of dust, irrigate trees and crops. Another one leads to the steam power plant not far away. The other one leads to a single room, which is the shower room. How much does it cost to take a shower? You lean on the counter and ask. The staff member doesn't look up. Eyes not opening, flipping through a novel. Are you an art user? Please show your license. The license is the identity mark of the art user in the wasteland. Numerous shelters are distributed, and each shelter caters to its own psionists. Method licenses. Although the styles and patterns of the licenses are different, shelters recognize each other and give certain conveniences. Psionicist bath, 3 gold yuan cores, no matter which shelter. You can enjoy this price if it is not a psionicist, 5 gold yuan cores. Next item, a bottle of drinkable purified water, which was worth only 3 before the price increase. Taking a bath actually costs 5. The staff looked up, looking at you with a surprised expression. Knowing that you are a bumpkin, you think it's expensive. The staff quickly explained. Where do you think our water comes from? If the Titan doesn't stop, the water intake field cannot draw surface water. You said, oh, is water resource shortage the only problem? Before the Titan stopped squirming. Water is indeed a big problem. You gritted your teeth and handed over 5 gold yuan cores. Room 7, you only have 2 minutes. After the staff's reminder, you almost fell to the ground. Damn, only 2 minutes for a shower? Damn it. You ran to bathroom 7, quickly took off your clothes, turned on the shower head and started scrubbing. Powerful streams of water washed over your body. Your skin felt like an electric shock. You moved very quickly, wiping all over your body. A lot of black water was washed away. Showering time should not be too long. The water used for showering, although treated, has greatly reduced the level of radiation. But it is far from reaching the level of drinking water. Prolonged exposure can cause irreversible damage to the body. Despite all the restrictions and high costs, being able to take a bath is still the most proud welfare of shelter residents. The water flow from the showerhead quickly turned small and eventually stopped. The last drop of water unwillingly fell on his shoulder's smooth skin, popping out a small splash, then flowing down the smooth curve of his skin. Therefore, when the shower ended, he simply wiped his body and felt a lot more relaxed. He often breathed a sigh of relief, looking more human. You combed your hair in the broken mirror, got dressed and walked out. But as you passed the counter, the staff looked at your refreshed face. Those slender, powerful, slightly curved eyebrows, bright eyes and lines outlining the contours of the eyes, together constitute an almost perfect picture. He suddenly felt his throat a little dry. Although judging from the figure, the person should be a man. But in this era where only survival is sought, desire has long lost its constraints. Sex and violence have long become the instinct of most people. Men, women, adults, children, humans and non-humans. In the eyes of those who crave stimulation and satiety, all boundaries are rapidly blurring. Hey! The staff called out. You stopped and turned back to ask, is there anything else? I just want to remind you, the staff laughed self-deprecatingly. Sometimes, being dirty is also a kind of protective color. I hope you can understand. You initially didn't understand what the staff was trying to express, but watching him draw circles on his face with his fingers, you understood. Thank you. You returned to the street and put on your hood. Just then, a violent tremor occurred under your feet, like a small earthquake. But it quickly disappeared. Then many people cheered in the street. The Titan has stopped. Heaven bless. Drinking water can be reduced in price. Quick, go down and see if there are any mines nearby, whether coal or iron. Can be sold for money. Damn it. Surface water is 1,000 meters away. Go down and hire people to fetch water. Let's cut down some trees, whether firewood or processing wood, to save for the winter. The constantly wriggling Titan finally stopped after crawling for 2 months. This is also the busiest time for all the shelters. There are many things to do, take various materials locally. It is even the most rare opportunity to repair the houses and wheels. The people at the lower level, especially the landlords, the first thing to do is to untie the derailed ropes. Push their houses within 500 meters of the Titan. To avoid sudden attacks. Chaotic scene. This game has an error, but your goal is not to do chores, but to customize a mech. Soon, you arrive at a private workshop where firearms can be modified. Looking around, various types of guns are scattered on the ground, like trash. The owner even uses a 98K rifle as a skewer, roasting large chunks of meat. Pick any gun you want. Take your pick. Old iron framework. The owner, seeing you, introduces them as if to a customer. Do you happen to have any revolvers? I knew you liked antiques. The owner slaps his thigh. You've come to the right place. You probably wouldn't be able to find a revolver among these guns, but I happen to have one. Your knowledge of firearms in this world is once again elevated. No exaggeration. The guns in this private workshop, if brought to Earth, could start an armed rebellion in a small African country. But in this world, these guns are all antiques. Weapons used only by poor, ordinary people. You currently have a pistol and a sniper rifle. The sniper rifle is decent. Its level is slowly increasing so you can continue to use it, but the pistol is really disappointing. You want to replace it with a pistol with more power. The owner rummages around in the weapon pile for a long time. He pulls out an M500 revolver and casually throws it to you. You catch it and take a look. It's covered in rust and hasn't been maintained at all. The firing pin sounds like it's about to jam. M500 revolver, old V1, 0.5. No bullets. The firing pin activity is abnormal. The cylinder axis is slightly stuck. The ratchet is unresponsive. The bullet lines are intact. High lethality. Many malfunctions. Not recommended for use. You twitch your lips. This revolver, if on Earth, would be twice as lethal as a desert eagle. Could kill a large rhino with one shot. Now, looking at it, it's just scrap metal. But you don't care. You have a cheat surpassing the laws of physics. Upgrading it will fix it. What about bullets? You ask. The owner is taken aback. Aren't you collecting it? Or for combat? Yes. The owner nods. The bullet type for this pistol is quite special. What was it called? Let me think. You say directly M500 SW Magnum bullets. Right. That's it. It's really a mouthful. The owner complains. I don't have any of those on hand. If you need them, I can make them for you on the spot. The owner points to the lathe and production line inside the room, saying proudly, without exaggeration, I produce all the bullets for Shelter 36. Of course, I can't handle the new stuff used by the espers. New stuff? You ask. The owner smiles. It's those guns that use gold core energy as a power source to fire energy. Your face is calm, but your heart is churning. Espers also have standard issue guns? And weapons beyond my current understanding. I really need to see them someday. How much? You ask, fiddling with the revolver. The owner is very mercenary. This antique is yours for free, but you need to order no less than 300 bullets. The cost is 50 gold cores. You rummage through your pockets and find only 6 gold cores left. You also put down the 20 pounds of rotten wolf meat you have. I don't have that much right now. Can this count as part of the deposit? The owner strokes his chin. Let me see your residency permit. You take out the original owner's residency permit. The owner looks at it carefully and records the information. Old resident. He thinks for a moment and says, 20 pounds of rotten wolf meat. I can only count that as 4 gold cores. I can make you 300 bullets, but you have to pay me back 80 gold cores. Don't think I'm heartless. I'm already being charitable enough. To put it bluntly, if you die in the wilderness tomorrow, can I chase you to hell to get my gold cores? Interest. Actually, this interest is very high, but the owner's concerns are reasonable. When a person dies, all debts are gone. Normally, 50 gold cores for 300 bullets. The unit price is 1 gold core for 6 bullets. In the wilderness, if you're lucky enough to face a ferocious beast, you can kill it within 3 shots. You can get a gold core and the overall return is pretty good. You nod. Okay, after both parties agreed, a promissory note was written. The boss rummages through the blueprint for bullets, heads to the workshop, and will come back in an hour to pick them up. And you sit on the ground, disassemble the revolver, and then reassemble it. Revolver LV1, 5 out of 5. You seem to have grasped the pattern. As long as a new gadget is in hand, it can almost be upgraded by 1 level depending on the number of detachable parts. Except for the alarm clock. Upgrade Revolver LV2. 10 out of 0. No bullets. The cylinder axis is slightly stuck. The quick turn is not sensitive, but the bullet trajectory is intact, and the lethality is great. It's usable. Pay attention to the jamming when firing continuously. Observe the quick turn operation. If it works, the trigger activity disappears. From unusable to usable, this is the effect of upgrading. Awesome. You hold Chun Dien Dian's revolver and find the kill switch. Start constantly polishing and degreasing it. Soon, an almost 80% new revolver appears before your eyes. The shape of this pistol is also very distinctive. It's grayish-black and has a science fiction feel, like a small pistol held by an alien. At this time, you also find a bullet with a pattern engraved on it on the table. You curiously ask the boss, what does this mean? The boss says readily, it's from the mysterious measuring ability user, from the ancient path. It's said to increase the power of the bullet. Anyway, I don't believe it. What's the difference between this and blessing a pistol? You say, oh, without thinking too much and put the bullet in your pocket. You'll study it slowly later. Taking advantage of the free time while the bullets are being processed, You continue to walk inside the shelter. Before long, you come to a place with a gear wheel sign. There are many ability users working inside. When you come in, the people inside are constantly turning pieces of iron or directly into metal with their fingers. Then someone turns the metal into various shaped things, including gun parts. There are also various things you can't understand. Your eyes light up. This is the role of ability users. This is the most reasonable development and utilization of productivity. Who are you looking for? An old man in the shop looks at you warily through the fence. You say straightforwardly, I want to customize a piece of equipment. A customer, huh? The old man smiles. My name is Chunanji. I'm the supervisor here. Come on in and talk. You shake hands with him. You follow Chunanji into the office. Tell me, what do you want to customize? What are your requirements? Chunanji's character is quick and direct, never polite. You think about it, wondering how to express it appropriately, and ponder for a while. You say, I want to customize a portable mecha. I don't know if it can be made. Portable? And a mecha? Chunanji is momentarily stunned. Why do I have the feeling of trying to raise an elephant to the size of a puppy? Are you kidding me? Chunanji strokes his chin and thinks for a moment, not getting angry immediately, but patiently asks. Excuse me, how much does such a portable mecha cost? Can you sell me one? Chunanji continues, young man, what era is this? Ability users are emerging in large numbers. What's the use of those huge mechas? Just the power issue alone is unaffordable. This isn't a black technology factory. You've come to the wrong place. An ability user who is currently converting or into metal says, curling his lips and bursting into laughter. You're not embarrassed. He's just testing these people's abilities, wanting to see if they have special abilities that can make such magical props. Seeing that the other party can't make what he wants, he lowers his requirements. Then let me put it another way, how about close-fitting armor? That's even more demanding than a mecha. Chunanji almost jumps up. You purse your lips. Then what kind of thing can you make? My requirement is to be as streamlined as possible, with convenience as the main focus. Your question is obviously contradictory. How can a close-fitting armor be streamlined? The design involves a large number of components and modules, including an exoskeleton, armor skin, power modules, and so on. Since the construction is extremely precise and complex, Chunanji stroked his chin and pondered for a while, saying, actually, our research institute has indeed tried to design battle armor. Although there are ability users, there are also many ordinary people. If they can be equipped, it is also a combat force that cannot be ignored. Moreover, through the special shaping materials of ability users, plus the essence core, in theory, it is entirely possible to design a close-fitting battle armor. You hear the word theoretical here, and you know things are bad. They may have tried it, but it definitely fell by the wayside. You tentatively asked, what percentage of the ideal battle armor you envisioned can be achieved? Team leader Chun pondered for a moment and tapped his fingers lightly, saying, let's not talk about how far the research has gone. The question is whether you want it or not. You naturally nodded. If I didn't want it, why waste time? Give me 1 million essence cores, and I can provide you with a battle armor that ignores cost and manpower. Seriously, this joke isn't funny at all. You coughed and said, Team leader Chun is really humorous. Chunanji shrugged and laughed. If I had that much money, I would just buy a fighter jet. Yeah, so much money. Could buy 10 fighter jets. Team leader Chun smiled wryly and continued. Powered armor is a topic we have been researching. Since the world changed, with various new materials and new energy sources, our research progress has greatly improved. But we are still some way from powered armor. What step are you missing? You asked curiously. Missing? Ahem, a technician nearby hurriedly coughed. Ahem your head. I know what I should and shouldn't say. Do your job properly. Team leader Chun glared at the technician and then said to you, missing in the power aspect. Our powered armor is difficult to make move at high speed, which is to say, it's hard to make Chen's armor run like a person, unless we use the core of the essence core as energy regardless of cost. But the consumption is also very huge and not worth the loss. Your heart moved. I don't know how heavy the armor you have researched is. By the way, how big is it? 1 ton, 2.5 meters tall. Humanoid, said Team Leader Chun. To ensure impact resistance, we have used the lightest possible material. This is already the lightest. Hearing this, your eyes lit up. Then, if you use ordinary materials, can you continue to reduce the weight? Team Leader Chun said with a strange expression, if you don't need defense, You can delete many modules and even use cheap materials. But to be honest, it's a waste of money to buy it. This kind of quality armor is just for show. Because the material quality is too poor and easily worn. You don't even need enemy attacks. It might break after a few hits. You thought for a while and asked, what can this kind of powered armor do? How much does it cost? Team Leader Chun, you guessed right. I just want to experience the feeling of wearing powered armor. To fulfill my childhood dream. As for whether it has combat power, it doesn't matter. You can't waste money like that. Team Leader Chun was speechless but still said, to make you run, this kind of powered armor would weigh about 100 kilograms. But it's only limited to running, and the speed may not even be as fast as you can run yourself. As for the price, he calculated in his mind, if you don't want weapons, just a shell. I can make it for you for 1,000 grams of essence core, and I can assemble it now. 1,000 grams? You thought for a while and said, are the materials you plan to use bulletproof? What if you don't use bulletproof materials, even against pistol bullets? I want to make it like Iron Man. I just want something for show, as long as it can move. But I want all the functions, such as the propulsion engines for the hands and feet, just for show. Performance is not important. By the way, the color should also be camouflage. Kid, you're not trying to steal technology, are you? Do you have a way to improve performance? Team Leader Chen looked at you suspiciously. These days, there are so many strange abilities. It's too many to count. His assembly room is full of similar ability users. Having no combat power but able to create amazing value, ha ha ha. You saw through it. You're full of hot air. It's just my usual hobby. It's dismantling remote controls, alarm clocks, etc. I just want to try to modify them. Power armor, challenge my limits. Come with me to the lab. I can assemble what you want on the spot. Team Leader Chun shook his head speechlessly. I thought I could make a big profit. In the end, it's just an outer shell. That's much simpler. But you didn't follow Chen Anji to leave. Chen Anji tilted her head. What's wrong? You seem a little awkward. I wanted to tell the truth, that I didn't have the ability to pay for the armor yet. But the words were on the tip of my tongue, and then I shut up. Almost ruined things. You thought, if I really said I didn't have money, I'd have to scan your body data. Height and build are very important. Otherwise, it might not be comfortable to wear. Arriving at the newly built lab, Team Leader Chun operated a computer and then pointed to the platform next to it. You hesitated slightly and stepped onto the platform. Then you saw the 8 infrared rays shot down from above, scanning up and down his body. Okay. Team Leader Chun operated the computer for a few more minutes, and then the 3D printer next to it started working quickly, automatically filtering materials, and then, to your surprise, individual parts modules were quickly printed out. Besides the necessary parts, many modules are even made of plastic. Some parts, the 3D printer cannot complete. They require shaping artisans to roll iron sheets into balls and then stretch them into the corresponding parts. This combination of technology and mysterious power production method opened your eyes. Team Leader Chun seemed to want to tell him, picking up parts, constantly checking data, and even showing them to you. Seemed to want to tell him, you want something fragile? Then I'll make you a real, fragile armor. But you didn't mind since he could upgrade it anyway. Under his surprised gaze, a dozen robotic arms quickly moved, starting to assemble automatically. Is the technology in this world already so advanced? At least in terms of artificial intelligence. It's much more advanced than the Earth before he transmigrated. Can I assemble it myself? He asked eagerly. Although it's the most basic version, it's still a high-tech product. He had no confidence that he could disassemble it and reassemble it himself. Team Leader Chun, who was operating the computer, paused. You want to assemble this armor yourself? Even with many modules removed, there are still thousands of parts. The robotic arms can assemble it in a few minutes, but manually it would take at least several hours. Are you sure you want to assemble it yourself? That's right. I hope I can assemble it myself. But I hope you can give me an assembly sequence. You said, if you don't understand power armor, even if I give you a video of the assembly sequence, you might not be able to assemble it well. What if you're missing a screw? It might not be able to move, Team Leader Chen said. Then can you guide me? I can, but my time is precious. Team Leader Chun paused, thinking for a moment before saying, I can only give you an assembly video. If you don't understand something, then ask me. You nodded. No problem. Chun Anji shrugged her shoulders. She made things easy for herself, but deep down, she really didn't understand. If you can secretly learn the technology, I'll consider this computer a waste. Even if you learn the assembly, without knowing the working principle, you can't manufacture the various parts, so it's useless. Team Leader Chun shook his head speechlessly, and then had the robotic arms disassemble the newly assembled module. Then, he controlled the robotic arms to move the newly printed parts onto the assembly platform. "Come on, let's start," Chenanji said, finishing. She left the assembly platform and ran to the other side of the lab to study her own things. You rubbed your hands, opened the assembly video on the computer, and followed along, learning how to assemble. Without the automated robotic arm assembly, manual assembly is indeed slower, but you didn't mind. These are all experience points. Experience point +1, experience point +1. Each time you assemble a module into a component, you will gain an experience point. Accumulating little by little, accumulating sand into a pile, time passes. It took a full 3 hours to assemble a camouflage-colored steel box of powered armor. The powered armor was assembled, perhaps because many modules were deleted, so it is only 2 meters high. When the last part is installed, you can only see the white light yourself. The data of the powered armor in front of you also appeared. Powered armor LV 1000/1000, a combat suit with no practical value, unable to fight. Cannot provide defense, has no attack power. Maybe when celebrating a festival. You can wear it to add to the festive atmosphere. The corner of your mouth twitches. The previous comment is very spiritual, which shows that this thing is a plastic toy. But you are still very excited. The experience value can be upgraded after assembling it yourself. There is upgrade data. That's no problem. Of course. You won't upgrade now, after all, Team Leader Chun is still in the laboratory. If you are spotted, it will cause unnecessary trouble. This thing. Team Leader Chun is embarrassed to say that this is powered armor. He directly refers to it as this thing. It has all the functions you want, but they are all super-castrated versions. The weight is about 20 pounds. It's just a crispy skin. Not to mention bulletproof. Ordinary people holding swords might be able to cut through it. The most valuable thing on it is the energy converter in the chest. You better not wear it to fight, otherwise don't blame me if you die. Don't worry. You force a smile. Team Leader Chun took a wafer core. Manually open the energy slot on the chest of the armor and put the wafer core in. Next one. The eyes of the sword-powered armor lit up. Okay, you can go in. He pressed the outside of the energy slot on the chest of the armor again. The front part of the sword armor all contracted. Helmet, chest and abdomen, hands and feet. All are reduced by half, allowing people to stand directly in. You stand in. After the hands, feet, and head are in place, the armor closes automatically. Then, he found that he seemed to be able to control the armor with his mind. There seems to be a weak artificial intelligence in it. No, it has nothing to do with artificial intelligence. It seems to be a technology that links neurons. It allows it to control various functions of the armor with thoughts. He was a little surprised that there was even technology to link neurons. The technology in this world is really not weak. Because various functions are super stripped down, the ventilation system is also very poor. You better open the mask, otherwise it's easy to get hypoxia, said Team Leader Chin. Okay. With your thought, the mask automatically retracts to both sides. Revealing the face, it's just that the retraction speed is a bit slow and the power is too poor. He walked around and found that it was like wearing a heavy shell on his body. Although the weight of the armor is very light. The movement speed is not slow, but there seems to be no extra power. Then, he tried the engine function 14 times and found that the palms and soles of his feet could indeed emit light, but he could hardly feel any thrust. In addition, there are also hidden design openings at the shoulders, each of which can hold 10 pistol-sized bullets. But the power is a disadvantage. The power is almost zero. All the functions you want are there, but as you wish, they have been stripped down. You can only rely on your own strength to move it. However, the joints are flexible enough. Theoretically, as long as your strength is strong enough. The movement speed can also be faster, but it is easy to wear out parts. Team Leader Chun shook his head helplessly. Wafer core 1 can last for 3 minutes. Replace it yourself when it's used up. This energy converter is also a stripped-down version and will cause huge energy waste. You slowly widened your eyes. Can only last for 3 minutes? That's too short. I'm too embarrassed to say it. It's easy for others to misunderstand. But, you quickly discover a pleasant surprise. Just now, you put on the battle armor. 1 minute just passed. A mosquito twitched in the corner of his eye. Fake battle armor. Experience points +1. Is it possible that you gain 1 experience point per minute? You can gain experience just by wearing it? He was overjoyed in his heart. If that's the case, the experience acquisition speed of this power armor is easier than a pistol. You summed up the experience. Anything can only be assembled once to gain a wave of experience points. If you want to gain experience points, you must use the item such as firing a gun. But firing a gun requires not only bullets. It's still necessary to hit the person or the killer, which is why you were sniping teammates back then. You emptied the magazine for reputation and support. Only hitting them will increase the amazing value. and this battlesuit's ease of obtaining amazing value is unexpectedly convenient. As long as you keep wearing it, you can continuously gain amazement. Isn't that great? At this time, Chunanji said, "All right, according to your requirements. The battlesuit is done. 1,000 cores of amazement. Pay up." You get out of the battlesuit and chuckle strangely. "I don't have that much right now." "Amazing cores? What? You don't have the ability to pay?" Chunanji's lips twitched. He could tell that you should be a resident of the lower levels. If there wasn't some value in you, I wouldn't have even entertained you, but you have no money at all. What are you even talking to me about? Good grief, now this toy is made. You're telling me you don't have money? Who the hell am I supposed to sell it to? Can I temporarily defer payment? You tentatively ask. I'm a long-time resident of Shelter 36. Chunanji glances sideways at you. He's so angry his face turns green. You leave the research institute amidst Chunanji's mumbling. Although Chunanji is unhappy, he still gives you 10 days. If you don't produce 1,000 gold ingot cores after 10 days, he'll destroy this toy directly. But you have confidence. Chunanji will definitely not destroy it. After all, it's still money. Besides selling it to me, no one else would even glance at it, and he's unwilling to sell it as scrap. Chunanji has no choice. Returning to the weapon shop, the boss already has 300 bullets ready. You repeatedly thank him and take them. After this one day, you're deep in debt, but you have no pressure. The cheat is the biggest survival reliance. Finally, you even use the remaining meat strips to replenish some sniper rifle bullets. After the sky darkens, you return to the rental house. There's not much entertainment in this world at night, just gambling and bars. And sacrificial wishes, which you dislike. You can only stare blankly at the setting sun. At this time, there are still many residents hurrying towards the shelter in the wilderness. Some are carrying coal from the mines. Some have and others have wild fruits picked in the wilderness secret realm, etc. Just at this moment, in your field of vision at the sacrificial wish site, several streaks of black gas suddenly squeezed out between the skyline. Like wolf smoke, they rise into the sky, forming 7 pillars of smoke. It's as if they're going to pierce through the sky. Within these thick, dark smoke pillars are countless hideous faces formed by the dark smoke. You narrow your eyes to look, your heart leaps. That's when you exclaim, "Slanted spawn." At this moment, an ear-piercing warning sound suddenly rings throughout the shelter. The residents all crane their necks and look towards the west, with endless noise. Those outside, run quickly. The slanted spawn are here. Damn it! This is the heavenly wolf-smoked slanted spawn. These slanted spawn are still active, according to records. The last time they appeared, they completely destroyed a city with 1 million people. No one survived. All dead. Damn it! You still haven't entered the safe zone. What are you still thinking about? Throw everything away. Run for your life. Damn, are you stupid? Still carrying things while running? At this moment, those still at the shelter. Humans 500 meters away from the shelter, after hearing the warning sound, all turn around to look. Upon seeing the terrifying slanted spawn, their legs become weak, wailing like ghosts and wolves. Running frantically towards the shelter, they worked hard for all day. Or wild fruits all abandoned on the ground, the entire wasteland. Because of the sudden appearance of the slanted spawn, it is in chaos, and the people in the shelter are constantly cheering and shouting for the residents who have not yet entered the shelter. At this moment, a cloud of black smoke suddenly flew out from the 7 wolf smoke pillars, condensing into a terrifying human face the size of a football field, flying over like lightning, opening its bloody mouth wide, its teeth gleaming. Even in the wind, there are faint sounds of the devil's sinister laughter. The wind in the sky, the strong airflow, even blows people away. Not to mention cigarettes, but this cloud of smoke remained intact, as if it really was a demon, leaving Fang Han shocked. Wherever the wolf smoke passed, the sky turned dark and the sun and moon lost their light. Those humans who ran slowly, after inhaling a mouthful of poisonous smoke, immediately and strangely bled. Their whole body seemed to have its bones extracted in an instant, turning into a pile of fleshy mud in the blink of an eye. These piles of fleshy mud, like boiling water bubbles with a poof sound, exploded into bloody mist fireworks. At this time, one resident looked terrified. While running, he pulled out a rifle and shot back. The bullets hit the black smoke, bursting into clusters of sparks, but were unable to resist the speed of the evil spawn's advance. Ah no! Help! The black smoke continuously devoured humans. Clusters of bloody mist fireworks exploded in the darkness, tragically and beautifully. Among these desperate people, there was also an Esper constantly moving through them. It could be seen that the airflow around his body rotated, with purple lightning 3 meters around him. Crackling and flashing, his thumb drew a blade of silver thunder, sweeping across the sky, swallowing the heavens and earth, stirring up the sun and moon. A powerful electric current poured through the void, directly striking the evil thing between the sky. With a flash of lightning, Shen Bei shook his head. Although this Esper's attack was fierce, that black smoke was an evil thing. Although the thunderous blade struck it, it still couldn't cause any damage. However, Espers are naturally physically much stronger than ordinary people, running extremely fast and not forgetting to grab a few lagging residents, carrying them as he fled. Finally, after all the residents ran into the Titan shelter's range, he collapsed on the ground, panting heavily, even coughing up blood. And that black smoke evil thing, after approaching within 500 meters of the Titan, as if encountering an air wall, could not move forward. The residents inside the shelter once again burst into a noisy round of voices. How many people died this time? I roughly calculated that it's about 30 or so people. Damn it, this godforsaken world. There's no way around it. Once the Titan stops, it's a good opportunity for us to replenish supplies. If we don't go out to get supplies, no one will have anything to eat or drink. The key is that the location where the shelter stopped this time is not good. Too far from the mine. Not long after, the black smoke evil thing floated past Shelter 36 and disappeared eastward. The evil thing came quickly and left quickly, leaving only the wasteland with one bloody round pit after another. The residents were already accustomed to life and death, and almost in an instant, those who should play cards played cards, and those who should drink drank alcohol. Shen Bei sat in the small house, witnessing life being so fragile, and couldn't help but feel dazed. Strength. I need to be stronger, not to mention killing the evil thing. I also need to run faster than the evil thing. The scene that just happened deeply stimulated Shen Bei. To put it bluntly, if it were him encountering the evil thing in the wilderness, he really wouldn't be able to outrun it. So upgrading the battle suit is imminent. Tomorrow go out hunting, and collect the 1,000 gold core as soon as possible to get the battle suit. As long as the battle suit is worn, Shen Bei believes that it won't be long before it will be upgraded to the Iron Man's button battlesuit. The sun completely set, night fell, and the stars shone brightly. The starry sky of this world is particularly charming, like countless diamonds inlaid. Shen Bei blinked. Sleepiness came. Before going to sleep, Shen Bei tied a metal wire at the door as an alarm. Then his head tilted, and he entered dreamland. This was the first time he slept in this world. Shen Bei had a strange dream. In the dream, he turned into a huge spaceship. He constantly processed massive amounts of data and repaired the spaceship, but he couldn't repair it no matter what. Constantly damaged parts within the Cerebr data. Gesture showed a red alert. Shen Bei's consciousness, halfway through sleep, suddenly emitted a signal like a high-speed computer, dozens of data points, instantly transmitted to various parts of the body, so his body suddenly, strangely, shifted sideways by 30 centimeters, then suddenly sat up, simultaneously grabbing the revolver with his left hand. Lightning fast, thrust forward, pressing against the uninvited guest's chin. This series of movements was so fast that it wasn't until the gun was aimed at the target that Shen Bei's eyes truly opened. In the darkness, his pupils gleamed faintly. Shen Bei was stunned, wondering when he had raised the gun and sat up, uncontrolled reflex. In a brief moment, he realized there was an uninvited guest. "Who are you? Put the gun down." This gentle voice was completely devoid of shame. Chapter 12. The uninvited guest is too violent. Shen Bei woke up from a dream almost reflexively. Even his brain hadn't received the physical signal. His gun was already raised. The revolver cannon in Shen Bei's hand, with its massive size and ultra-long barrel, and the intimidating black hole of a muzzle, leaves no doubt that within any range. This gun has enough power to blow the brains of the fiercest armored giant bear into a bloody mess. Not a weapon that ordinary people can wield. Its fierce recoil is comparable to the firepower output of an ancient war machine. Firing this gun with one hand, even after the first bullet, the wrist is lucky enough not to be broken or fractured. The subsequent recoil will be enough to significantly shift the position of the grip, greatly increasing the time and precision required for subsequent aiming. But at this moment, this barbaric revolver is already pressed against the intruder's chin. The aiming problem no longer exists. Even if it were to fire, even if Shen Bei's wrist were fractured, that would only happen after the intruder's head has turned into scattered fragments. The head under the gun muzzle appears fragile and thin. Whether it's this extremely domineering revolver or the weakest ordinary pistol, can easily penetrate its skull. However, few people can easily pull the trigger. Especially after seeing the face of this intruder, almost all men would not, at the first moment, make the decision to shoot because she is an extremely beautiful young woman who looks to be under 20 years old. In an era of mass exodus, a woman's teenage years are often much younger than they appear. Perhaps she is only 18 years old or even younger. She has a head of dark chestnut short hair and healthy wheat-colored skin, with sexy lips smeared with a strange purple-gray. A pair of bright, large eyes is staring intently at Shen Bei, with a hint of panic flashing in those eyes, intertwined with some excitement and playfulness. The girl is wearing a short leather jacket, with the collar open very low. The hem is just short enough to outline the curves of her full breasts and tight, flawless waist, as if there is nothing else covering under the leather jacket. The lower half is paired with tight jeans, tightly wrapped around her plump, curvy hips and slender, powerful legs, like her second skin. The girl not only possesses outstanding looks and a graceful figure, but also exudes vigorous vitality and surplus energy, which can be glimpsed from the strong smell of alcohol that lingers on her. Obviously, the alcohol she has drunk has made her nervous system overexcited, focusing on seeking stimulation and excitement, while being numb to the fear of life and death before her eyes. Although there is a gun hanging directly below her chin that could send her to heaven at any moment. Her eyes, slightly blurred by alcohol, only gaze at Shen Bei's charming eyes and the hand holding the gun. Shen Bei's fair hands, whether it's the smooth lines or the delicate skin, make the girl's own proud hands pale in comparison. A trace of killing intent flashed in Shen Bei's eyes. She had already noticed the metal wire lying on the ground. This woman, in a drunken state, bypassed her alarm trap, her slender index finger, resting on the trigger, slightly contracted. Just a little more force would trigger the gun's thunderous strike. The girl finally realized this fatal change. Her eyes instantly cleared, and fear spread. Shen Bei maintained the pose of pointing the gun at her, and stood up. With the slightest tremor in her fingers, the girl's beautiful face would be reduced to a bloody pulp. The pistol pressed tightly against her, forcing her to stand on tiptoe, maintaining an extreme pose only a ballerina could achieve. Any small movement could cause the pistol to accidentally discharge. However, at this critical moment, Shen Bei made an unexpected move. Shen Bei roughly searched her body, ensuring she posed no threat. But she dared not make any movement, only allowing fear and tension to spread throughout her body, sweat quietly sliding down her cheeks and neck. The girl frowned in pain, and Shen Bei's body search temporarily came to an end. She took a step back, put away her pistol, and confirmed that she was unarmed, and at least not faking it. Seeing that she didn't seem to have any obvious malicious intent, Shen Bei asked in a low voice, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" A burning flame blazed in the girl's eyes. She replied, "My name is Bai Luo. When you came out of the shower, I thought you were gonna die crying. I've been here many times before. How come I never noticed? Hee hee. By the way, I'm a master locksmith." Shen Bei was no stranger to this kind of situation. In this era of rampant violence, women, due to their physiological and physical disadvantages, have a low status. Many women can only exchange their bodies for basic survival supplies, such as food and water. With Bai Luo's youth and beauty, she could indeed survive in this way. But if you want to live a better life, you must master excellent skills and provide real value to the shelter where you are located. As a former mercenary and a wasteland hunter in this life, Shen Bei has long been familiar with the essence of money, violence, women, and transactions. However, the current situation does not seem to conform to her principles. Because it touched on some bottom lines she was unwilling to compromise easily. "I'm out of money." Shen Bei doesn't have a single gold core on her. They have long been turned into bullets and rent, leaving only a pound of jerky. This girl, obviously, is worth far more than this. The flame in the girl's eyes burned even more fiercely. She suddenly pounced like a female leopard, with such force. She directly pinned Shen Bei to the bed. She panted heavily and forcefully, tore at the clothes on Shen Bei's body, and the sound coming from her mouth was a mixture of desire and growls. "This time, I don't want money. You were so hateful just now. Hurry up and give it to me now." But Shen Bei's revolver was once again against her chin, propping her up. "I have a lot of things to do tomorrow. Save me energy." The girl was almost driven crazy by this transformation from nakedness to freezing cold, but she had to leave under the compulsion of the pistol. Almost completely naked, holding her clothes, she watched the door in front of her slam shut and lock. Shen Bei stood upright, sitting on the edge of the bed, with the pistol across her lap. She heard the sentence from outside the door. Gritting her teeth, hysterical threat. "Shen Bei, sooner or later, I will rape you." Shen Bei. Chapter 13. Revenge must not wait overnight. After dawn, Shen Bei took out the jerky, tore it off piece by piece, and ate it with small sips of water. Then she put on her Barrett sniper rifle and a revolver at her waist. The bullets were in her satchel. Then, carrying a small bag, she went out. The landlord looked at Shen Bei meaningfully, grinning with his big yellow teeth. "Going out?" Shen Bei nodded. Young man, don't be discouraged. What if you are a 3-second warrior? The main thing is to quickly solve problems. The landlord said inexplicably and smiled. There are also girls who come out to find work on their own, but I don't think this girl minds. So you paid so quickly. She was still reluctant. Shen Bei, of course she was unwilling. Shen Bei explained, I didn't prostitute. The landlord nodded knowingly. No wonder she left cursing. Shen Bei waved his hand and left directly. Shen Bei did not leave the shelter directly. Instead of heading to the wasteland, he turned towards the mission hall, where a blackboard hung. It listed the shelter's needed supplies or temporary hires from other employers. However, most missions required psionic users because the individual combat power of a psionic user is unmatched by ordinary people wielding firearms. Despite being nominally a shelter, it's actually very large, almost like a small town. That doesn't include the wheeled houses following behind the Titan. Shelter 36 is medium-sized, with a population of about 90,000. Some large shelters can reach 200,000 to 300,000, so once the Titan stops, there are many job postings. Shen Bei and a few others looked towards the blackboard. There were many missions, many of which were mining. This kind of work doesn't involve fighting fierce beasts, and its advantage is safety. There were also long-term missions posted by the shelter's general, which were to scout information about the Titan's direction of travel. Few dared to take this mission because you have to walk ahead of the Titan, and the Titan's route is not controlled by any humans. It goes wherever it wants. It might be predicted to go straight, but the next day it might turn. By the time the scouts return, just look for a shelter. Everyone pretends not to hear you. But this mission is still somewhat important. Above the wasteland, there are many huge city ruins, which have become homes for all kinds of cunning and cruel mutated creatures. Mutants, living corpses, and ferocious beasts, among others. This isn't scary. The shelter's psionic users aren't pushovers either. The only problem is that once the Titan enters a ruined city, it will tilt at a huge angle and cause a bumpy ride. The shelter needs to reinforce its houses and buildings in advance. And the wheeled houses following behind must all untie their ropes and go around in circles. This is a huge project, so it naturally requires early warning every time it passes through ruins. Many people have gone bankrupt because of this. Shen Bei glanced at it and settled on a mission. That was to explore an abandoned coal mine to investigate whether there were fierce beasts occupying it, for 30 gold core units. If there are fierce beasts occupying it, and they are cleared, it gives 200 units. In fact, the underground world is not suitable for snipers. The above-ground cities, with their many buildings and vast areas, and mountain forests are the paradise for snipers to operate, but this reward is too tempting. Generally speaking, the mines above the wasteland have been repeatedly exploited. Today Shelter 36 comes, tomorrow Shelter May 30th pass by. The nearby mines have naturally been scavenged, and the possibility of fierce beasts inside is very small. Shen Bei secretly memorized the address of this mission, turned and walked out of the mission hall, when suddenly, a person stood in front of Shen Bei, blocking his path. Shen Bei, right? Hearing this, Shen Bei slowly raised his head to look at the man in front of him. He was wearing leather combat clothing which didn't look like a regular army uniform, and half of the buttons on his chest were open from top to bottom, revealing a chest full of hair and tangled, developed chest muscles. An eagle-like nose, coupled with deep gray eyes, gave him a different kind of charm full of power and energy. This appearance was somewhat similar to Xiaolong's. Shen Bei remembered this person's name from the original owner's memory, Xiaoying, one of the combat-type psionic users in Shelter 36. Why did only one person come back? Where's my brother, Xiaolong? Xiaoying asked with a solemn tone and unfriendly eyes. Shen Bei shook his head. I don't know. They left me behind on the way. So I came back. Huh? Xiaoying looked suspicious. They abandoned you? Yes. Is there a problem? Heh. Xiaoying's eyes were deep and serious. His face changed, and a trace of violent expression flashed in his eyes. The direction you were heading should only have wrought wolves. It was completely not dangerous. How could they abandon you as a burden? Shen Bei was too lazy to talk nonsense. Then go ask your brother. I'm asking you. Xiaoying's fiery temper flared up immediately. What exactly happened? You fucking explain it to me clearly? Where's my brother? Shen Bei reiterated again. Without a word, Shen Bei brushed past him. An awakened one is only vulnerable to ambush. In a head-on fight, Shen Bei is not truly invincible. Guns still have threatening power and advantages, especially the firearms in Shen Bei's hands, the kind that can be upgraded. Xiaolong's gaze was fixed on Shen Bei's back. He seemed to have a bad premonition. He wouldn't believe a single word, not even a punctuation mark, that Shen Bei said. After thinking for a moment, Xiaolong's eyes flickered. He walked out of the shelter, heading in the direction Xiaolong took for his mission. Damn it, if my brother were still alive, you, Shen Bei, would be fine. But if something happened to my brother, you'll be buried with him. Xiaolong looked utterly ruthless. Meanwhile, Shen Bei, hiding in a concealed spot, narrowed his eyes, watching Xiaolong's figure disappear into the distance. As long as he sees Xiaolong's corpse, it only takes a little thought to realize that he would be a prime suspect. After all, the man was shot dead with a bullet. Ferocious beasts don't use firearms. In the future, it will be Xiaolong in the open, and himself in the light. Who knows when? He will begin to seek revenge. Shen Bei shook his teeth, temporarily ignoring any missions. He immediately followed. Shen Bei needed to find a good spot to ambush him, and kill Xiaolong to eliminate any future trouble. In this world, don't even mention settling scores overnight. Even being a second late in killing someone means regretting it for life. An hour later, Shen Bei set off. The sunlight, with its intense ultraviolet rays, ruthlessly baked the earth. However, the heavy cloak Shen Bei wore blocked all the sunlight from the outside. He didn't walk very fast, but the speed was constant, and only after 3 hours did he stop in front of a lonely, dilapidated house. Inside the villa, which had lost half of its roof, he carefully checked it again, confirming that there were no fatal creatures hiding, nor anything like a ironclad berserker bear or other powerful carnivores lurking. Shen Bei finally relaxed. This is it. Shen Bei ambushed here, on Xiaolong's inevitable return path. This was the destination Shen Bei had chosen for him. So what if he was an awakened? It was either you die, or I live. Damn, 14th page, bullets can be upgraded too. Let's do it. Shen Bei waited quietly alone. He had just closed his eyes, preparing to take a nap, when he suddenly remembered something and took a bullet out of his pocket. He had taken this bullet from the shelter, from the desk in the Strong Sales computer store. Complex patterns were engraved on it. His fingertips gently brushed over it, and he could feel the unrealness of these patterns. They didn't seem to be engraved, but rather the metal naturally had these patterns. But feeling carefully, he could still feel the grooves that were carved out, but the grooves were very shallow. So shallow that they were invisible to the naked eye, indicating the superb skill, like a high-precision machine tool. Mystic type awakened. In this world, awakened are roughly divided into 2 categories: combat types and support types. Combat types possess powerful, invincible abilities. Except for some creatures that cannot be killed, theoretically speaking, any fierce beast or zombie can be killed. At the same time, there are many branches of combat types. Common ones include natural elements, gene expansion, and so on. And support types lack strong combat abilities. Their main role is to improve the living conditions of the shelter and the equipment needed. But the mystic type is somewhat bizarre. Some mystic type awakened have combat power comparable to combat types such as controlling space and time, etc. But some mystic type awakened can only help combat types improve their combat power. Now this bullet with engraved patterns in Shen's hands is made by mystic type awakened. At this moment, the information about this bullet is also presented in Shen Bei's vision. Rifle bullet, LV5 at max level, a one-time use item. This bullet is engraved with mystical energy, which can increase the range by 500 meters, greatly increase the lethality, greatly increase accuracy, and has strong armor-piercing capabilities. If necessary, this bullet can adjust its trajectory. Shen Bei read the information. He was completely stunned. An ordinary bullet, etched with intricate patterns. It actually produced such a harmful change. Just increasing the shooting range is definitely a deadly trick to deceive the enemy. The enemy predicts the gun's range is insufficient, but the bullet cheats. That's nothing. The most perverted thing is that it can change its trajectory. Shen Bei couldn't imagine how it could be changed, trying to force an understanding. Even in such a strange world, once a bullet is fired, it's no longer under the shooter's control. Unable to figure it out, just then, within Shen Bei's divine stone, a light flashed, as if there was a divine power in the dark. Connecting to the bullet in his hand, Shen Bei suddenly discovered that the bullet in the palm of his hand had a slight leftward offset, turning to the right. The bullet head slowly reversed direction, pointing to the right sky. Shen Bei exclaimed in surprise, realizing that changing the bullet's trajectory starts from the level of consciousness. In other words, after this bullet is fired, during its flight path, can turn according to one's own will. Shen Bei was suddenly pleasantly surprised. As expected of a bullet engraved by a mysterious psychic, anyone can use it. Shen Bei clicked his tongue, feeling that the gun shop owner was blind and ignorant, missing out on a big deal. Immediately, Shen Bei took out his own bullets and rummaged through his backpack, feeling for an alloy file less than 10 centimeters long. He compared it to the patterned bullet and began to engrave. Although Shen Bei is not a psychic, He feels that as long as he imitates, he will definitely gain experience and be able to create such bullets. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Soon, Shen Bei realized that he was a little too hasty.
这些奇异纹路的子弹线条还是相当复杂的，有些交错的纹路。
He had no idea which line had been drawn first. Due to lack of experience and insufficient precision of control, after completing the first attempt to engrave, the text in the corner of his eye gave a prompt. Rifle bullet LV-05, surface has scratches. Doesn't affect use. Shen Bei wasted his effort. Needs to be more careful. Shen Bei looked up, forgetting the wilderness. No one in sight. Continue to bury himself in carving. Kill, kill, kill. Shen Bei started with the simplest patterns. Begin to copy and carve. Experience 1. Not bad. There is progress. Continue. The second line goes down with a knife. No experience points gained. Without any disappointment, Shen Bei continued to carve. Experience point 1, experience point 1. Until Shen Bei gained 5 experience points. The entire bullet already has no place to carve, but compared to a level 5 bullet, there are still many lines that haven't been carved in, mainly because the lines carved by Shen Bei are too thick. The spacing between the two lines is not comparable to level 5 bullets. The tools are the problem, my technique is also a problem. Shen Bei summed it up. Then directly upgrade the bullets. Rifle bullet LV-210. There are scratches on the surface. Slightly increase shooting distance. Slightly increase lethality. That's it. There are results, but not comparable to level 5 bullets. However, this is a huge gain for Shen Bei. It is like discovering a new world. Especially for Shen Bei, who has no power and can only rely on guns, this is undoubtedly a huge help. If I had more sophisticated tools, I would definitely be able to carve level 5 bullets. Then, Shen Bei was not idle and tried to carve revolver bullets. In a moment, the carving is complete. Revolver bullet LV-155. Grade. Revolver bullet LV-205. Disposable item. There are scratches on the surface of the bullet. When the bullet penetrates the target, it will produce an explosion effect. At the same time, accuracy and shooting distance will be lost. Shen Bei cursed. M500 revolver killing radius. Within 250 meters, the effective distance is within 50 meters. After this bullet gained the bonus effect, it actually lost some accuracy and range. However, Shen Bei didn't care at all. As for the loss of accuracy, it is no longer within his consideration. According to Shen Bei's idea, when it was ready to use its revolver, it never exceeded 20 meters from the target. Shen Bei calmly handled the bullets. One by one, seemingly never bored or tired, Shen Bei could carve out the bullets. All are second level, third level not carved out. Shen Bei is not in a hurry. After dealing with the affairs here, find this mysterious artist and ask for more advice. Shen Bei carefully put away the bullets and took out the second bullet to open it. It seemed that a full 2 hours of repetitive labor did not bore it. The experience of special forces in the previous life tells it that enough patience is necessary for survival. Shen Bei looked up again and looked out. Suddenly, a dark shadow appeared on the distant wilderness, carrying a corpse. Maintaining a military speed of about 30 pulses and sprinting in its direction, Shaoyin is back. Shen Bei put away the bullets and tools at an incredible speed and copied the barrett in his hand. With a flash of his right hand, a modified bullet was pushed into the chamber. Then, without flashing to the side of the wall, he looked out through a crack in the wall. When doing all this, Shen Bei did not make any sound except for the metallic impact of the rifle being loaded. At this time, there was no sight on Shen Bei's rifle at all. But this does not prevent Shen Bei from sniping. Shen Bei squinted slightly. To block the reflection of the eyes, carefully look outside. He himself is proficient in long-range shooting. Of course, he knows what will expose his whereabouts, getting closer and closer. Shen Bei's gun slowly protruded out. Chapter 15. Sniper assassinates the supernatural being, Shaoyin on the opposite side, carrying the body of his brother Xiaolong. Running in the wilderness, at this time he was already furious. He had a hunch that his brother had died, but he never expected it. After finding the location of the attack, not only were all the members killed, but also, all were killed by snipers. After he checked the body, he found that, except for Xiaolong's forehead, was shot through by a pistol bullet, and the other members were shot by a sniper rifle. From this, Shaoyin instantly thought of the sniper rifle on Shen Bei. It was him, he must have killed everyone. Shaoyin's face was hideous and rushed. If I had known this, I should have killed him in the morning. Shaoyin thought it's not too late now as long as Shen Bei appears in Shelter 36 without saying a word, just kill him directly. The shelter doesn't care about the death of an ordinary person. Thinking of this, Shaoyin ran even faster. Jumping back and forth among the grass and trees in the wilderness, he rushed back to the shelter anxiously. At this moment, Shen Bei's eyes were watching Xiaoying's figure in the distance. The aiming line quickly captures along the twisting barrel. Those two calves running fast in the grass and trees originally wanted to shoot the opponent's head or chest. Due to the lush branches hanging from the trees, it blocked the target's upper body, which was dense within the aiming line. The bottom layer of the forest has a limited field of vision, only seeing two legs flashing alternately. Running fast and the upper body of Xiaoying the angle of view. It is impossible to guess completely. Blind shooting will not only fail to hit people but also, it is possible to startle Xiaoying. This low shot is crucial. Slower, slower, look back at your evil weight. Shen Bei silently chewed a few soft green grasses in his mouth, constantly masa wriggling his cheeks. So Wu seized the opportunity, just when Xiaoying's running legs suddenly stopped, waiting for the brain to transmit the command to change direction. Shen Bei decisively pulled the trigger, and a hard bullet suddenly burst out of the chamber, crushed the grass leaves blocking the way and flew straight to the target. The bullet flew extremely fast, skidding out a whistling fire line along the surface of the ground under the grass and trees. Xiaoying just before he could lift his foot to run, the bullet hit the ankle bone of his left ankle, causing this guy to fall heavily like a running horse suddenly stepping on a tripwire. Unreservedly, he was slammed forward, breaking his nose bridge and front teeth. His torn lip naturally didn't have time to dodge, tumbling in the vegetation. It quickly became quiet, showing an extremely strong awareness of silent combat. Even after being shot, he didn't panic and shout, but remained extremely calm. He didn't make any extra movements, as if disappearing into the bushes. Shen Bei, with lightning speed, ejected the cartridge from the chamber, his finger on the trigger, his eyes glued to the scope. Not daring to relax for a moment, he stared at the target. After careful inspection, he still found a flaw. A hand stretched out from the vegetation, in the messy bushes. So one. The Barrett sniper rifle in Shen Bei's hand, towards the ferocious viper, in time, didn't want a second prey. The bullet, in a very short time, followed the still warm air, ejected out, directly shattering the exposed palm. The expected howl. Shen Bei didn't hear. Moreover, after that palm shattered, there was no reflex action like the palm of a dead person. Shen Bei's heart sank. That was Xiaolong's corpse. The horrified expression on Shen Bei's face was still lingering. She immediately picked up the sniper rifle. Shen Bei was absolutely certain that the first shot definitely hit Xiaoying's ankle. The second shot was deflected by Xiaoying and hit the dead body, so Xiaoying, hidden in the dark, had already felt out her position and should be circling around. Left or right, Shen Bei had to move, at close range. She definitely couldn't beat Xiaoying. She took a gamble. Shen Bei moved lightly, running towards the left, crouching down. She advanced all the way, crawling. Shen Bei went straight for Xiaolong's position. She wanted to change position and catch Xiaoying off guard when she peeked out from the ruins. Even blow her head off directly. Soon, Shen Bei reached the rear of Xiaolong's corpse. She set up the sniper rifle. Almost at the same time, at Shen Bei's original sniping position, a dark shadow appeared. It was none other than Xiaoying. Shen Bei's finger on the trigger gradually exerted force. She decisively fired a shot. Bang! A bullet shot out of the chamber and flew towards the pile of grass in the ruins. This timely white line, it only flashed briefly in the dense vegetation. The sunlight and shadows on the bullet alternated at extreme speed. Finally, it only shook the few blades of grass on that dense green patch slightly. Then it drilled into the ruins. The figure disappeared. A cloud of blood mist erupted from the ruins. Shen Bei thought that this time she should have killed the target. Although Xiaoying was an esper, but only a tier 1. Plus, her sniper rifle was tier 3 and the bullet was tier 2. It was definitely enough to give her a hard time. But the next second, a rifle muzzle poked out from the ruins, pointing towards Shen Bei's direction. A burst of random fire. Da-da-da! This gunfire was full of impotent rage. Under a big tree, the gunfire stopped at this time. From the ruins came Xiaoying's shout, "Damn it, Shen Bei! It's your dad, Shen Bei." Shen Bei was also taken aback and once again had a new understanding of espers. After being shot twice, she could still talk. Shen Bei generously responded, "That's right. A preemptive strike is best. You wouldn't mind, would you? Screw your grandpa. So you really killed my brother. And you still want to kill me?" Xiaoying's vicious voice came again. "What? You still want to use guns to kill me? I'm an esper. I advise you to surrender obediently." "Stop with the trash talk," Shen Bei said easily. "Although espers are powerful, they're not invulnerable. If you have the guts, stand out. I'll shoot you in the forehead. As long as you don't die, I'll let you kill me. How about it? Xiaoying was silent. There was one thing that had to be admitted. The power of a sniper rifle posed a very big threat to espers, especially Tier 1 and Tier 2 espers. In fact, they were only slightly stronger than ordinary people. Only by advancing to Tier 3 or higher could an esper's defense ignore bullets. And now his ankle has been shot. It severely impacts his movement. The bullet is stuck in the bone, almost causing him to faint from the pain. Although not directly killed, it's still a life-threatening situation and makes him extremely passive. Because his ability is strength enhancement, meaning he can't engage in close combat. Only able to passively take hits, Xiaoying looked around at the terrain, feeling troubled. His injured ankle drastically reduces his movement speed. If Shen Bei circles around him, he'll be played to death sooner or later. What to do? Xiaoying squinted. Looking at his injured ankle, Shen Bei on the other side was also thinking about what to do. He doesn't dare get too close to Xiaoying. Once Xiaoying gets a hold of him, he won't last 2 moves. He'll definitely be blown to pieces, but Xiaoying is hiding behind the wall, not showing his head, making it difficult to get him. Once Xiaoying's foot recovers, only he will die. Thinking of this, Shen Bei slowly pulled out a level 5 bullet, taking one last look at the markings. Memorizing it in his heart, although not very familiar, he still pushed it into the breach. Chapter 16. If chased by a small monster, then there's no choice but to fight back. He can't afford to waste time. Shen Bei can't afford to waste time. If it was a normal person he was killing, Shen Bei would dare to charge with his revolver, but the opponent is Xiaoying, a person with abilities whose recovery ability is much stronger than ordinary people. He must seize this opportunity at any cost and take his life. So, Shen Bei pushed the level 5 bullet into the breach. Without hesitation, he decisively fired. Bang! The bullet head, like a finger with extreme speed, parted the soft plants at the edge of the pit, shooting into the ruins. In an instant, Xiaoying, hiding in the ruins, clicked his tongue, firing randomly. Behind him is a wall that bullets can't even penetrate. A useless effort. At this time, Xiaoying's mentality is either to launch an attack, or do nothing. Ultimately, only he will win. Time is on his side, so Xiaoying could see a bullet streak past his head, leaving a white line. But the next moment, Xiaoying's eyes burst, his expression twisted. Terror, suppression, and even despair all surged, because he saw the bullet dragging a white line. Originally flying straight, suddenly, it changed direction. As if drifting in the air, it made a sharp turn, turning back to shoot at him. What the hell? Xiaoying was completely dumbfounded. It was unbelievable. Unimaginable, unbelievable. He couldn't imagine, even if he racked his brain, why the bullet shot by Shen Bei would freaking turn. Could it be that Shen Bei is an ability user? The ability to control bullets? Impossible, absolutely impossible, but the absurd scene was happening right before his eyes. Xiaoying was completely stunned. At this time, Shen Bei, after his consciousness connected to the level 5 bullet and shot it out, experienced a magical scene. He could share the vision with this bullet. After the bullet grazed past Xiaoying's head, Shen Bei immediately controlled the bullet to turn around, the bullet head towards the stunned Xiaoying shot at him. Bang! The bullet accurately entered Xiaoying's right eye, exploding in his brain the huge explosive force. Internally destroying Xiaoying's brain tissue, his skull was blown open. Red and white matter, like boiling hot porridge, spewed out. In Shen Bei's vision, it was like a fountain of brain matter. Shen Bei breathed a sigh of relief. Consuming a precious level 5 bullet, he finally dealt with the trouble. Hopefully, he won't kill the small fry and then have the old one come after him. With the Barrett hanging behind him, he leaped a few times, returning to the ruins. Squatting on the broken wall, Shen Bei looked at Xiaoying's body, a smile on his lips. The resourceful Chun Si jumped down and Shen Bei began to rummage. Xiaoying's pockets and satchel held a resourceful Chun Si identity card, which Shen Bei envied. This card offers at least a 30% discount on consumption in all shelters. In some places, it's even 50% off, whereas ordinary people are lucky not to be overcharged. Aside from the damaged goods, the most valuable things were the gold core, of which Shen Bei counted a full 330. Shen Bei converted the gold core to his own, taking a pack of cigarettes. He discarded the rest, ate some jerky, and drank a few mouthfuls of water. Shen Bei began his return journey, his figure like a ghost among the ruins. Moving sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, this world, resembling the end of days, is merely what humans call it. Humans prefer fixed living spaces, but now, pursued by elusive monsters, they can only rely on titans, living a life of mass exodus. But for other ferocious beasts, this world is paradise. The wasteland is not barren. Given the various terrains, the return journey will take about 2 hours. Shen Bei tried to avoid the ferocious beasts, not to provoke them, not because he couldn't, but because Shen Bei needed to hurry back, to do the mine exploration task which was more cost-effective. But contrary to his wishes, an hour later, Shen Bei ran head-on into a peculiar life form, a stone golem. This was a stone golem over 3 meters tall, seemingly heavy, but strangely it moved almost silently, usually lying on the ground, almost blending in with the earth, sunbathing and sleeping, hardly moving. But once awakened, with this kind of stone monster, it's best if the team has a combat soldier. With this kind of stone monster, it's best if the team has a combat soldier. This kind of stone monster, it's best if the team has a combat soldier.